Well, it is a tragedy that continues to fascinate after more than a century. The Titanic hitting an iceberg and sinking in April 1912. The wreckage was only discovered in 1985.
The sinking of the Titanic remains one of history's most haunting tragedies. But what if we could step back in time and witness the moments just before disaster struck? In this video, we'll uncover 20 mysterious photos taken before the Titanic sank. Eerie glimpses into life aboard the ill-fated ship. Stay with us as we explore these haunting final moments. The Titanic at dock. The RMS Titanic, a symbol of early 20th century maritime ambition and luxury, departed from Southampton on April 10, 1912, marking the beginning of its ill-fated maiden voyage. The photograph of the Titanic at the dock captures the ship's grandeur as it prepared to set sail, unaware of the tragedy ahead. Built by Harland and Wolff in Belfast, the Titanic was one of the largest and most luxurious ships of its time. It was designed for comfort and elegance, featuring lavish interiors and the latest technology. The image taken at Southampton's Berth 44, later Ocean Dock, shows the ship at its departure point for New York City. The Titanic's impressive design is on full display, with its towering bow and name visible. The decks are lively as passengers board, excited for what they believe will be a grand voyage across the Atlantic. The scene is filled with hope and anticipation. However, knowing what followed, the image carries a haunting quality. The Titanic was widely advertised as having advanced safety features, leading some to believe it was unsinkable. However, no official claims guaranteed its inability to sink. Yet, just 4 days later, it struck an iceberg and sank, taking over 1,500 lives. This contrast between excitement and impending disaster makes the photograph especially poignant, reminding us of the unpredictability of fate. Image of the view from a lifeboat. The view from a lifeboat looking back at the RMS Titanic captures both its grandeur and the unfolding tragedy of April 14th to 15th, 1912. Passengers boarded lifeboats under duress, yet many recalled an eerie calm rather than panic. As they rowed away, Titanic remained brightly lit, with music from the orchestra still playing, creating a haunting contrast between elegance and disaster. Survivors described the heartbreaking sight of the Titanic looming over them as they drifted away in lifeboats, with its nameplate glinting under the moonlight. It felt as though they were leaving behind not just a ship, but an entire world of luxury and promise. As the Titanic broke apart, a collective gasp filled the night. The stern rose high before plunging into the icy depths, marking the loss of over 1,500 lives. Fear gripped those in lifeboats. Many hesitated to return, afraid of being swamped by drowning victims or pulled under by the sinking ship. Only a few, notably lifeboats number 4 and number 14, braved the freezing waters to rescue survivors. Image of the Grand Staircase. The Grand Staircase of the Titanic is one of the most famous images of the ship, symbolizing its luxury and ambitious design. Spanning multiple decks, it was made from solid English oak and featured intricate wrought iron railings. At its base, the staircase was about 20 feet wide, narrowing to 10 feet at the intermediate landing, allowing passengers to move gracefully between levels. A central newel post stood at the bottom, featuring a bronze cherub holding an electric light. This design element added to the staircase's elegance. The surrounding carvings and ironwork enhanced the sense of sophistication. Above the staircase, a magnificent glass and wrought iron dome let natural light flood the space during the day, making it even more breathtaking. At the foot of the stairs stood a decorative clock, honor and glory crowning time, with a cherub sculpture on top, a reminder of both beauty and the fleeting nature of time. The walls were lined with polished oak panels, decorated with detailed carvings in the William and Mary style. The staircase connected key first-class areas, such as lounges and dining rooms, serving as both a grand entrance and a social gathering spot where passengers could mingle and display their status. Designed to impress, the grand staircase reflected the White Star Line's vision of the Titanic as the largest and finest ship in the world. Inspired by the architecture of elite homes, it was more than just a way to move between decks. It was a symbol of luxury and exclusivity. Image of the lifeboats on deck. The image of lifeboats secured on the deck of the Titanic is a stark reminder of the ship's tragic fate and its inadequate safety measures. The Titanic had only 20 lifeboats, far too few for the more than 2,200 passengers and crew on board. At the time, regulations required lifeboats based on a ship's size, not its passenger capacity, allowing Titanic to legally sail despite the shortage. The lifeboats included 14 standard wooden boats, 2 wooden cutters, and 4 collapsible ones. Each could hold about 65 people, but many were launched with far fewer passengers due to panic and disbelief. For example, Lifeboat Number 1, designed for 65, left with only 12 people. Many hesitated to board, believing the ship was safer than an open boat in the freezing Atlantic. While the Titanic prioritized luxury, it was built in compliance with existing maritime safety regulations of the time, which unfortunately did not require enough lifeboats for all passengers. The original plan for 48 lifeboats was reduced to 20 to keep the deck looking spacious and elegant. This decision proved disastrous when the Titanic struck an iceberg. Although lifeboats were launched in an orderly manner, only 18 of the 20 made it into the water. In total, 472 lifeboat seats remained empty, lives that could have been saved with better planning and communication. After the Titanic sank, lifeboats drifted in the cold Atlantic, some even washing away before use. The rescue ship Carpathia arrived over an hour later, picking up the survivors from the boats that had launched successfully. The lifeboats, once symbols of security, became haunting reminders of lost lives and missed opportunities for rescue. Image of passengers aboard. Before tragedy struck on April 15, 1912, passengers aboard the Titanic enjoyed a luxurious journey. First-class travelers dined in an elegant saloon, where gourmet meals were served on fine china, accompanied by live orchestra music. Others strolled the promenade deck, breathing in the fresh sea air and admiring the vast ocean. While second and third-class accommodations were simpler, passengers still found ways to socialize. Second-class travelers had their own dining room and library, while third-class passengers shared stories of their hopes for a better life in America. Despite the carefree atmosphere, some passengers had concerns. Rumors about icebergs circulated, and a few noticed the ship was moving at high speed through icy waters. Captain Edward Smith received multiple iceberg warnings but continued the voyage at high speed, as was common practice at the time. On the night of April 14th, at around 11:40 p.m., disaster struck. The Titanic hit an iceberg, but at first, many passengers did not realize the seriousness of the situation. Some dismissed it as a minor incident and hesitated to leave their cabins, even when told to wear life jackets. This delay proved deadly as panic set in during the chaotic evacuation. Image of a first-class dining room. The first-class dining room on the Titanic was a symbol of luxury, designed to offer an exceptional dining experience for wealthy passengers. This grand space reflected the ship's commitment to comfort and elegance, as well as the social customs of the early 20th century. Located on D-deck, it was the largest unbroken dining area at sea, measuring 113 feet long and 92 feet wide, with enough space for 554 guests at once. The dining room combined beauty with practicality. It featured intricately carved wooden paneling in the Jacobean style, painted glossy white to create a bright and airy feel. 2 aisles ran along the sides, with a central dining area supported by elegant pillars. At both ends of the room stood oak buffet stations, adding warmth to the otherwise white interior. In the evenings, leaded glass windows were softly illuminated, giving the impression of dining on land rather than at sea. Passengers dined on fine china, custom-made by Spode, with gold and cobalt blue designs. The tables were set with elegant cutlery and glassware, creating an intimate atmosphere. Dining was more than just a meal. It was a social event where guests interacted in a refined setting. An orchestra played soft music in the background, adding to the experience without overpowering the conversation. On April 14, 1912, just a day before the disaster, Mr. and Mrs. Widener hosted a lavish dinner in this room to honor Captain Edward Smith. This gathering highlighted the exclusivity of first-class dining. However, within hours of the last meal service, the Titanic would sink, turning this once glorious space into a heartbreaking symbol of loss. Image of the promenade deck. The promenade deck of the Titanic was an elegant outdoor space reserved for first-class passengers. Stretching 546 feet, 166 meters, along the ship, it provided a scenic area for strolling, socializing, and enjoying the sea air. With wide walkways, wicker chairs, tables, and potted plants, it offered a relaxing atmosphere. Passengers could rent deck chairs for reading or admiring the ocean views. To improve comfort, the forward section was enclosed, unlike its sister ship, Olympic, protecting passengers from sea spray. The deck hosted recreational activities like shuffleboard, deck quoits, chess, and dominoes, fostering a lively social scene. At the aft end, open spaces with wooden benches allowed passengers to relax while enjoying stunning views of the ocean and the Titanic's stern. Famous photographs from this area capture passengers enjoying their journey, showcasing the Titanic's grandeur and the cherished moments shared aboard. Image of the shipbuilders at work. The construction of Titanic at Belfast's Harland and Wolff Shipyard was a monumental feat, involving 15,000 workers, with 3,000 directly building the ship. The shipyard, one of the world's largest, featured the 228-foot gantry crane, specifically designed for Titanic and her sister ship, Olympic. Workers endured grueling 49-hour work weeks, earning about £2 per week. Despite advancements in shipbuilding, safety was minimal. 8 workers lost their lives during construction, and many faced risks such as burns, hearing loss, and injuries from handling heavy materials. Riveters, key artisans in Titanic's assembly, worked in 4-man teams, driving thousands of rivets into place. The image of laborers beneath the towering gantry cranes reflects their craftsmanship and dedication. Every rivet secured was more than metalwork. It was a mark of pride in constructing one of history's most legendary ships. Image of the ship's bell. The ship's bell Titanic held both practical and ceremonial significance. Crafted from brass, it was designed for durability and a deep, resonant tone. Typically engraved with the ship's name and year of construction, the Titanic's bell served as a distinctive identifier of the vessel's grandeur. Its primary function was timekeeping, following maritime tradition. Crew members struck the bell at half-hour intervals, with 8 bells marking the end of a 4-hour watch. This system was essential for maintaining order among the crew, ensuring smooth operations on board. Beyond timekeeping, Titanic's bell also played a critical role as a warning signal. In fog or heavy rain, its sound alerted nearby vessels, helping to prevent collisions. A crucial function given the Titanic's immense size and speed. Image of the Titanic's bow. A dramatic view of the Titanic's bow shows its sleek design and impressive size. Built in a clipper style, the bow featured a raked stem that helped the ship ride over waves, improving its speed and stability. Measuring about 470 feet, 140 meters, long, the bow was decorated with detailed railings and elegant fittings, that emphasized its luxury. The ship's hull was made from over 2,000 steel plates, ranging in thickness from 1 to 1.5 inches, 2.5 to 3.8 centimeters. These plates were held together by more than 3 million iron and steel rivets, a feat that showcased the advanced engineering of Harland and Wolff. This strong construction reflected both the industrial progress of the era and the great ambition behind the Titanic's design. Today, the Titanic's bow lies roughly 12,500 feet, 3,800 meters, below the North Atlantic. Over a century underwater, cold temperatures and microbial activity have caused much of its structure to deteriorate. Recent expeditions have found that parts of the bow's railings have fallen away and now rest on the ocean floor. Yet, some interior sections remain in surprisingly good condition, having been preserved by the slow process of flooding. Image of Titanic's nameplate. The Titanic's nameplate, displaying RMS Titanic, was made from standard maritime materials suitable for ocean-going vessels. Positioned at the stern, it was designed for visibility, proudly displaying the ship's name. The intricately carved letters, about 4 feet high, showcase the detailed craftsmanship behind Titanic's construction, adding to its grandeur. In maritime tradition, the stern placement was significant, serving as both an identifier and a symbol of pride for passengers and crew. The name Titanic became synonymous with luxury and innovation, reinforcing its status as the largest and most luxurious ship of its time. Image of the onboard menu. A look at the onboard menu from one of the last meals served on the RMS Titanic offers insight into the luxurious dining experience of first-class passengers. These passengers were among the wealthiest people of their time, paying the modern equivalent of over $100,000 for a luxury suite. The ship provided extravagant dining options, including a Parisian cafe with French waiters, a veranda cafe decorated with palm trees, and a grand dining saloon that could seat over 500 guests. Each evening, first-class diners enjoyed gourmet meals served on silver platters, while a 5-piece orchestra played in the background. Survivor Mrs. Walter Douglas recalled her final meal in the first-class dining saloon, describing it as the height of luxury. The tables were adorned with pink roses and white daisies. Women wore shimmering gowns. Men were elegantly dressed, and the orchestra played music by Puccini and Tchaikovsky. The menu featured delicacies like caviar, lobster, Egyptian quail, plover's eggs, hothouse grapes, and fresh peaches. These preserved menus provide a historical connection to the meals enjoyed on April 11, 1912. Their value continues to grow, as seen in 2015, when a first-class dinner menu from April 14th sold for $118,000 at an auction in Texas. Image of the bridge. The bridge of the Titanic was the heart of the ship's navigation and operations, where officers directed its course and made crucial decisions. Located about 60 meters from the bow and standing 23 meters above the water, it provided a clear vantage point for maneuvering. Inside the bridge were essential rooms, including the wheelhouse, chart room, and the captain's watch room, ensuring smooth coordination with officers' quarters and the wireless telegraphy room. 6 officers worked in rotating shifts, supported by quartermasters, to maintain control and oversee the ship's movements. On the night of April 14, 1912, at 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet spotted an iceberg looming ahead and immediately alerted the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch reacted quickly, ordering a sharp turn and reversing the engines in an attempt to avoid collision. However, the massive ship could not change course in time and struck the iceberg, causing severe damage below the waterline. As the Titanic began sinking, officers worked tirelessly to organize the evacuation, sending distress signals and launching lifeboats. Panic and confusion spread, leading to many lifeboats leaving with empty seats despite the desperate need for space. Their efforts, though valiant, highlighted serious flaws in the ship's emergency, preparedness, and lifeboat capacity, contributing to the scale of the tragedy. Image of the engine room. The engine room of the Titanic was essential for its operation and showcased early 20th century engineering. The ship used a hybrid propulsion system with two massive triple expansion steam engines and a low-pressure turbine, allowing speeds of up to 23 knots. Located deep below the waterline, the engine room housed these powerful engines, each weighing nearly 200 tons. Steam, generated at 215 pounds per square inch in 29 coal-fired boilers, powered the engines before passing through a turbine that drove the center propeller. This system improved fuel efficiency and reduced vibrations. Steam was then condensed back into water using seawater-cooled condensers, ensuring resource conservation. The engine room also contained pumps, generators, and refrigeration machines, vital for ship operations. This sophisticated machinery highlighted the Titanic's status as one of the most advanced ships of its time. Image of propellers of the Titanic. A close-up view of Titanic's enormous propellers reveals both their impressive scale and the careful craftsmanship behind them. The ship featured three powerful propellers, two large outboard wing propellers, each measuring 23 feet 6 inches in diameter with a 35-foot pitch, and one central propeller that was 17 feet in diameter with a 14-foot 6-inch pitch. This three-bladed design not only made the propellers look striking, but also improved the ship's efficiency and maneuverability, setting them apart from the four-bladed alternatives. Built by Harlan and Wolff, these propellers were crafted from manganese bronze, a material chosen for its strength and resistance to corrosion. The central propeller weighed about 22 tons, while each wing propeller tipped the scales at 38 tons. These robust construction choices, inspired by lessons learned from Titanic's sister ship Olympic, were aimed at optimizing the vessel's speed and performance during its maiden voyage. Today, the enduring quality of this engineering is evident, as a wing propeller still rests on the ocean floor, offering a glimpse into the innovative techniques of that era. Image of the third-class cabins. The third-class cabins aboard the Titanic offer a glimpse into early 20th century accommodations for lower-class passengers. Located on the lower decks near the engines, these cabins were modestly furnished, typically housing 2 to 6 passengers per room. Titanic featured 84 two-berth cabins, with a total third-class capacity of around 1,100 passengers. Designed with white-painted pine paneling and salmon-pink linoleum flooring, the cabins provided a clean, bright atmosphere. Basic furnishings included beds, a small table, and, in some cases, a wash basin, though only family cabins and those for single women had this feature. Unlike many ships of the era, Titanic's third-class passengers enjoyed private cabins rather than open dormitories, reflecting White Star Line's commitment to improved steerage accommodations. Facilities were limited, only 2 baths served over 700 passengers, and fresh water was stored in wall-mounted enamel tanks. The third-class dining saloon, located midship on F deck, accommodated 473 passengers at a time, offering simple but hearty meals like oatmeal, ham, eggs, and roast beef. Additional communal spaces included a general room for socializing and a smoking room for men, fostering a sense of community among passengers. Despite its limitations, Titanic's third-class accommodations were an improvement over many contemporary ships, offering private cabins instead of open dormitories. Image of the first-class stateroom. The first-class staterooms on the Titanic represented the peak of luxury in early 20th century sea travel. Spread across several decks, mainly B and C, the ship had 39 suites, including lavish parlor suites with multiple rooms, typically 2 bedrooms, 2 wardrobe rooms, and a private bathroom. These suites were designed for privacy and convenience, with adjoining doors for families or groups traveling together. Inspired by grand European styles like Louis XVI, Georgian, and Queen Anne, the interiors featured polished wood, plush fabrics, and decorative moldings. Parlor suites had faux fireplaces, large card tables, and comfortable sofas, creating a refined social space. Modern amenities made these staterooms exceptional. Each had electric lighting, ensuite bathrooms with flushing toilets, and high-quality toiletries like Vinolia Otto toilet soap. Furnishings included silk-upholstered chairs, elegant writing desks, and decorative mirrors, enhancing the luxurious atmosphere. More than just places to sleep, these rooms were social hubs where elite passengers hosted gatherings. Wealthy travelers like J.J. Astor and his wife Madeline occupied these grand suites, reinforcing their status. The Titanic's first-class accommodations truly reflected the opulence of the era. Image of the smoking rooms. The Titanic had smoking rooms for first, second, and third-class male passengers, each designed for relaxation and socializing. The first-class smoking room, at the aft end of a deck, had a Georgian-style design resembling a gentleman's club. Dark mahogany paneling with mother-of-pearl inlays, stained glass windows, and a high plaster ceiling created an elegant setting. A white marble fireplace, the only real one on board, sat beneath Norman Wilkinson's Plymouth Harbour painting. Leather club chairs surrounded square tables, and a revolving door led to the Veranda Cafe. An adjacent bar served cigars and drinks until 11:30 p.m., while the room closed at midnight. It was a popular spot for gamblers, including professional card players. Artifacts recovered from the wreck include chandeliers and red and blue floor tiles. The second-class smoking room had a Louis XVI design with oak paneling and custom linoleum tiles. Green Morocco leather club chairs surrounded card tables, and a nearby bar served drinks and cigars. The third-class smoking room was simple, with white-painted pine paneling, linoleum flooring, and wooden benches. A bar, spittoons, and bolted-down tables allowed for card games. Across all classes, smoking rooms provided a social space for men, reflecting the era's customs. Image of passengers on deck. The Titanic's decks provided a space for passengers to relax and socialize during its ill-fated maiden voyage. The boat deck was the main outdoor area for first and second-class passengers, offering a wide-open space with benches and rentable deck chairs. Here, passengers could stroll, play games like quoits, or simply enjoy the sea air. Though the atmosphere was peaceful, the presence of lifeboats was a constant reminder of safety concerns. Families and friends gathered on deck, chatting, playing, and taking photos to remember their journey. Many passengers, especially the wealthy, saw the Titanic as a symbol of progress and took pride in documenting their experience. These moments captured a sense of camaraderie, as people formed new friendships and shared the excitement of the voyage. Despite class distinctions, shared spaces like the boat deck encouraged interactions among passengers. First-class travelers enjoyed luxury, while second-class passengers still experienced impressive comfort for the time. Though social divisions remained, the ship briefly united people from different backgrounds in a unique and historic journey. Image of the gymnasium. The gymnasium on the Titanic was a modern fitness center designed exclusively for first-class passengers. It was located on the starboard boat deck, near the first-class entrance, and was considered a remarkable addition to the ship. Brightly lit with white-painted oak paneling and tiled floors, the gym was not just a place for exercise, but also a social space where first-class passengers could meet and interact. Since it was one of the few first-class public rooms on the top deck, it became a popular gathering spot. The gymnasium featured some of the most advanced exercise equipment of its time. Among its machines was a cycling device connected to a large dial that showed the distance traveled, giving passengers a sense of motion. There were also electric saddles that simulated horseback and camel riding, which many passengers found entertaining and unique. These machines were not just for fitness, but also a source of novelty and amusement for those aboard. To ensure proper use of the equipment, the gym had its own instructor, Thomas Macaulay, who guided passengers through their workouts. Since it was considered improper for men and women to exercise together, specific hours were assigned for different groups. Women had access from 9 a.m. to noon, children from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and men from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The gym closed at night, and first-class passengers could buy a ticket for one session at the cost of 1 shilling, available from the ship's purser. The gymnasium was such a notable feature of the Titanic that it was recreated for the 1997 film Titanic by James Cameron. While many scenes were filmed in the replica gym, only one made it into the final movie. Today, some of the gym's original equipment still lies on the ocean floor with the wreck of the Titanic. However, it is believed that the gym's roof collapsed when the ship's second funnel fell during the sinking. In an effort to bring the Titanic experience back to life, businessman Clive Palmer has included the ship's original sports, health, and recreational facilities in his plans for Titanic 2, a modern replica of the famous vessel. When the Titanic struck an iceberg on the night of April 14, 1912, some survivor accounts suggest that passengers may have gathered in the gymnasium during the sinking, possibly using exercise equipment to keep warm. In a final act of dedication, Thomas Macaulay reportedly remained in the gym during the ship's last moments, ultimately going down with the doomed vessel. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating content. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these mysterious Titanic photos in the comments below. See you in the next one.